Big Sky Howdy, and welcome back to another episode of World Bigfoot Radio. Calling, and we're doing the recording here, and kind of a nasty day. Hopefully we'll get a decent sound file. It's about to thunderstorm on both of us, even though we're a couple hundred miles apart. And once again, I got my buddy Grizz on, and Grizz has brought on his lovely wife, Mama Bear, and they're going to be telling us about some of their experiences, and you've heard a bunch of stuff from Grizz already. And we were actually planning on having this be a family show because his daughter and son-in-law also have Bigfoot experiences. And we won't be able to bring them on until the second part of the show. We can't record it today because he had a logging accident and is currently in the hospital getting surgery. Oh, my God. And it doesn't sound like it was fun. We'll let Grizz fill you in on the details. But so that's where those two are today. So they can't make this recording. They'll be on part 2. But for today, we're going to have Grizz and Mama Bear on, and welcome to the show, both of you. It's glad to have you here, and how you doing?
Good, Duke. How's your pulse and respiration?
Pretty good, pretty good. You know, other than the rain, I'm liking the weather that we're having here. It's in the 70s. It's nice.
All right. It's been thunderstorming up here, but that's kind of passed. Let's hope we keep a clear signal.
Right on. Well, if you can keep a clear signal, hopefully I can have a halfway decent one here. I think the listeners are used to it sounding like I'm, calling it in from the dark side of the moon on KTEL walkie-talkie or something. So this should hopefully be an improvement on that at least. So, hey, after we talked to you the last time, you actually got a chance to get out and go check out a couple places that you had been to before. You want to bring us up to speed on that?
Sure. First off, I was making fun the last time about I wouldn't put people on your radio show.
You see how that worked out.
It was actually one of the best things that happened because my wife and I started to discuss all this strange thing that was going on, and, she guides and everything. And she experienced a lot of strange things, rock throwing and boulder throwing is more like it.
Mm-hmm.
And
just quickly for the fans that may not remember the last episode that you were on, or it's been a while and don't recall it at this point, you and your wife both have extensive experience out in the woods and hunting, guiding hunts, fishing, taking people on fishing missions. Making your own fly casting lures, all that sort of stuff. So you're not like city people. You're out there all the time, practically.
Yep, that was our life.
Mm-hmm.
And
so now, go ahead.
That's what we used to do. We had a manufacturing business, but would hustle through the daily work so we could go play in the woods.
Well, you got to have your priorities, That's the important thing.
Oh,
you
yeah.
To live once. Be in the woods as much as you can.
Right.
So I know after we talked the last time and you got a chance to sit down with Mama Bear and chat with her and the kids and everything, that it jogged your memory on some other stuff and hers. And then you went out and like I mentioned a minute ago, you went and did some more follow-ups. So did you find anything?
Actually, I did. I told you about going up into this one drainage that I believe they hung out in during the winter time because that's where all the other animals moved to. Can't really call it a migration because it's like less than 40 miles from the cabinets into this other drainage.
Yeah.
But it's well protected. There's a river that runs constantly in there. It's full of whitefish and trout. There's some big fir and spruce that turn into teepees when the snow falls. And there's lots of frozen ponds that have got cattails and stuff in them. So there's no lack of food. Mm-hmm. So Mama Bear was up. She had to go to work. And I was bored, so I put some gas in the old timber beast of a Jeep we got and just took a ride up into this drainage just recently. Well, it's been a couple months ago, snow. And I'll be doggone if I didn't see a lot of the same stuff where they busted into through the ice to the cattails, that single file track that doesn't fit the quadrupeds.
Nope.
And
plus they tightrope walk too. Yet it's not even parallel step line like a human does.
Right, and it's like something drags its feet at the end. Plus, all the deer follow that path. They go the path of least resistance, so they can pretty much make a path anywhere, and then they can just reach out from under their tree and grab dinner.
Oh, God, and that's probably what they're doing a lot of.
And, and there are plenty of fish, so that there's a lot of substance up there, back in there, and it's relatively untraveled after hunting season. Nobody goes in there.
Yeah, it's too far from anywhere to go there unless you're hunting.
Right. It just goes dormant until the snow comes off and the ice comes off. And so I was surprised to see that again, and it gave me, okay, yeah, we're getting an idea. They're following the herds down, moving in there. I think they're actually leading the herds down. With every, they're cutting trail.
Yeah.
And going in there, and they know where they want to go. I didn't get out and explore much or anything, but it was like, holy cow. And next winter, I would like to go in there with Mama Bear and the kids and really take a defined look at everything.
That's
I don't know if I want to.
I've never heard that detail before, and that's an important clue right there, because that would not surprise me. They have no trouble whatsoever plowing through deep snow because they're huge and ridiculously powerful. And, these other animals use the path of least resistance, and the bonus points is, guess where Bigfoot's going? To where there's food. And a lot of it's stuff these herbivores can eat. So the Bigfoot's plowing a path right to their food.
Oh, yeah. We've cut path through very deep snow before, and then hooked back, found a nice place to set, and sure enough, here the deer come. But it's pretty much always does, and all we got left's buck nuts. But
I know the deer and whatnot around here, like everywhere else, they're opportunistic, and if they can get an easier meal, they're going to take advantage of it.
Oh yeah, and up in this drainage, everything seems to settle in up there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got your other predators. The bears are all asleep, but you got your lions and bobcats and stuff, and so there's a lot of predation going on up there, so everything can kind of eat, and it's out of the weather. It's very common there, so it'll be something to really explore.
Yeah.
Really explore. No. It's a big drainage. I mean, it's really big, but it's very sheltered. And then in the springtime, like I say, it's less than 40 miles from there back into the Cabinet Mountains.
Yeah, that ain't very far for them as far as what they consider distance, in my opinion. They can move that in 1 day easy.
Yeah, you look at your typical elk, it'll walk 16 miles just to get a drink of water out of its favorite watering hole.
Yeah.
So
to them, 40 miles is like, it's a little jaunt 1 day. Boom, you're there.
Yeah, unless we find something to entertain ourselves on the way.
Some humans to throw rocks at or something.
Yeah, maybe somebody left the curtains open on one of the remote places like our old places. Let's sit and watch the Three Stooges for a while.
Oh, God. Yeah, I bet they'd love that. According to Kevin, they like slapstick comedy. They'd probably be all over that window, staring in there, watching the TV.
That was one of Mama Bear's favorite shows. Favorite thing, she had a disc of it. Whoops, said the wrong name there. Yeah, so anyway, it was interesting. We're getting in on it. Like I was telling your listeners and that, I was reluctant to do the first show and all that, and promise, I used to say, got hornswoggled into it. I highly recommend it now. It certainly gave the family, we've always been a close family, but it gave, it just opened up and between the kids and Mama Bear and myself, it just opened up a whole new world. We're excited for it.
Yeah, it's great when you have something like that can bring the family together. In a situation like this, it's just weird stuff that you really can't talk to anybody about. And being able to actually share that with the rest of your family has got to be, like, really nice. Actually, you don't have this weird stuff you have to not tell anybody about, or they'll think you're crazy. No, they've all had weird things happen to them, too. So
yeah,
that's really handy.
Yeah, I mean, we've been discussing some of the things that happened to Mama Bear, and have come back to memory, and it makes sense now. It really does. I mean, you'll have to listen to some of what she's got to say, because it's you could probably interpret it better than me, but I'll tell you what, she's really had some experiences, just not the sighting yet.
Right. Well, and you can have some of the scariest encounters I've heard are encounters where they didn't actually see them, and they just had them, like, messing with their camp all night long or something. And you can pretty much tell just from what's going on that it isn't anything other than a Bigfoot, but the person in question never did get to see it. So that's not always, it doesn't have to be Class A to be a sighting. And some of the scary, really, a couple of the scarier experiences I've had, I didn't get to see the Bigfoot at all. He was standing there shaking my damn tent while I was in it, but I didn't get to see him. And that's pretty scary. They can't be very much closer than that to you unless they're, like, stepping on you or something. So,
right.
It's scary. And that's the next thing that occurs to you. Well, what if he decides to step on me? Maybe I'm going to protest about his tent shaking,
That could be uncomfortable.
And when it's happened more than once, it's even more annoying. You guys have played this trick on me before. Quit it now. I know what you're doing, and it's working. I'm scared. Quit it.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting together with you this summer.
Did we let everybody know about the upcoming big event up there in your neck of the woods before we continue on? Sure,
why not?
Go ahead. Let everybody know.
Well, we've talked into going up to the second annual Yak Sasquatch Festival and doing some shows and recording some stories and everything. It's up in the Yak, which is the most wildest place in the lower 48. It's a place where Bigfoot could walk into the bar up there and nobody would care.
Because they would just mistake him for a local.
Right.
This is spelled Y-double-A-K, not exactly like the Himalayan type yak, but
yeah, Y-A-A-K.
Yeah,
we call it the Yak. It's a different place. It's wonderful. It's beautiful, and everything.
It's rugged. It's wild. It's the frontier.
Very
still.
wild.
Actual mountain men still live there.
Yep. There's actually a caribou herd up there.
And that should tell you something, folks. There's a caribou herd. And pretty much everything else. Moose, elk, deer, mountain lions, grizzly, Bigfoot. Yeah, all of it. It's all there. One thing, before we get off the topic, you're talking about this little drainage area. Just curious here, is there any wolf activity in that area? Is there a wolf pack around there?
No, I haven't noticed. Coyotes, yes. The wolves, no. They're down in some other drainages. Lincoln County had two resident packs, one up in the Tobacco Valley, and then one down here in another drainage. I won't give the name, and they've lived very peacefully. They haven't been hunting people's cattle or anything. And you used to be able, you go out to the one here outside of Libby and howl, and you'd get a good response from them.
Yeah.
But it seems like when they did the Yellowstone transplants, they cut off funding to all these other wolf research programs. And all of a sudden, wolves are showing up all over Montana, western Montana, Idaho, northern Idaho, and Wyoming.
Yeah.
My best guess is these people couldn't afford to feed the wolves anymore, so they rented a U-Haul and boxed them up and took them and just turned them loose.
Yeah. Well,
And
the good news in this area is that there's no shortage of food for them. There's plenty more food than there is wolves at this point, so it's not going to be an issue with livestock or anything.
Yeah, that's how it is up here, and it will find a balance, I hope. And you know, it's
or if they get too close to some of these drainages that Bigfoot's living in, then they'll get thinned out a bit, and they won't be living there anymore.
Oh yeah, and I'm convinced they take them for the kidneys because all of the vitamin A in there.
Yeah.
The vitamin A in canines and even moose, kidneys and livers could be fatal to humans. And moose, if you cook it right, it's okay. But, you know, the canine family, it killed off that Arctic team.
Yep. So
I think they, you know, these guys are huge, and I think they take it for the vitamin A. You hear so often that they don't eat the whole thing. They just open it up and take the kidneys and liver and call it good.
Yeah, take the yummy parts, leave the rest for the other scavengers.
Yeah, I think they're after that vitamin A.
Yeah, it's the same thing as them stealing salt blocks and some of the other, you know, weird mineral-related things you see them doing. They're looking for that part of their diet. You want to make friends with them, go leave them a salt block. They'll salt and mineral block. They'll be your buddies after that. Don't give them any other food. Just give them a salt and mineral block.
I'll pass.
I'll pass.
They've been at it longer than I have. So anyway, the festival up here is June 16th, and it goes on a couple of days at the world-famous Dirty Shame Saloon.
Oh, right. Well, you know, with a name like that, it's got to be a prim and proper place.
It actually is. It's remote up there, but it's a fun place, and places all over to pitch your tent and everything, and entertainment and stuff for kids, and foot races, and crafts booths, and chainsaw carving contests, and wow. When you see one of these masters take a log and turn it into, and you can pretty much bet they'll all be Bigfoot.
Lots of Bigfoot carving.
Food and beverages.
I just think it's so neat that they're doing a festival like this in an area that's got lots of Bigfoot and lots of sightings in it. There's no shortage of either in that area.
Oh, yeah, and, you know, I can tell that all your listeners that the promoters are very excited to have you up there and let some of these people talk about what they've seen. And,
and if you want to go to the event, obviously I will be there, and
looking
forward to meeting anybody that wants to show up.
Yeah, I encourage them, if they're listening to this, to get up there. And honestly, I've had a total change of heart. I don't feel hornswoggled anymore. I think everybody, if you got a story, get it out there. It really is wonderful.
Thanks, man. I'm so glad to hear that. It's really nice when it works out that way for folks. And hey, with that, let's bring on your other and better half, Mama Bear, and get her input on some of the stuff that we talked about already and other stuff she has mentioned.
Okay, I'll do that. I pretty much call her the War Department, but we'll call her Mama. Oh, God, I just set her hair on fire.
Oh, God, you're in trouble now.
Oh, yeah. Here she is, Duke.
Hello.
Howdy, Mama Bear. Don't set his hair on fire till after the show, okay?
Okay. Well, he got hornswoggled. I don't know what I got, but here we are.
You got strong-armed, probably. That was.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't hear very many complaints from people that have been on the show, and I try to keep a close eye on what's happening and make sure that the trolls aren't going after my guests and stuff like that.
Oh, good.
I think that's one of the reasons that they appreciate it, because I do actually closely monitor comments on my videos and whatnot, and If you got a comment, a question, or even some negative input, that's one thing. But if you're just going to be a jerk and a troll, you're not even going to get your comment posted, and I'm going to flag you.
No,
so don't do it.
Okay.
But anyway, hey, it's great to finally get a chance to talk to you and hear your voice. And the last time we had Grizz on, he was talking about some events that had occurred with you. Specifically, one that he referenced is where you were fishing in a river and you had one of them damn boulder grizzlies trying to chase you out of there.
Yeah, I sure did. I actually haven't, I guess I'm a believer, not a knower, but that was quite the deal because at the time I remember thinking something is not right here. This isn't right. What happened, I was guiding a client on a major river around this area, I guess. And I've often had, clients will throw rocks in the river to, ooh, there's a fish or whatever. But with a river that deep and a boulder, I remember I was tying on a fly, just concentrating. And my client, when I started, was within, 20, 25 feet of me, right? And I was having issues and trying to get my fly on there. And then the next thing I heard this splash, and when a fish jumps up and breaks water, there's a splash, but there's no thud,
Right.
And this was a giant splash, but then a few seconds later, there was just this thud where it sank to the bottom. And I looked up and I went, funny, and I looked and I couldn't see the client anymore, out of sight, way, downriver somewhere. And I thought, holy crap, that's weird. That's really weird. And, so I kept tying my fly on there. And then it happened like a couple more times. And I, my gut instincts, my whole body just like, and I thought, well, my God, this is really weird that I don't know what's going on. But the fishing was so hot. And I'm sorry, but guiding fishing, it just kind of took over. And, and so I started catching fish again. But one thing I always would get teased about is whenever I would land a fish, I would talk to him and like, hang on, just a little bit more and you'll be back in the water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if me talking to the fish and releasing the fish, but the boulder stopped after that. And, I knew their gut instinct, there was just something not right there. But I'm sorry, when the fishing's hot, my mind just would go elsewhere. And then after Grizz, we've been talking after such recent events because obviously I'm on a need-to-know basis with him, and I didn't need to know a lot of this stuff until just recently, with what happened to him. He never told me for years, the big turd bucket, but anyway.
Well, he didn't want to ruin it for you. He didn't want you to be scared of the woods.
Well, that's true. That is true, but I'm not scared now. I actually would like to make contact with these suckers.
Oh, God. A couple of things about your story here that strike me immediately is, first of all, there's no other human beings that you knew of anywhere near around there to throw that rock in the river. Your client is somewhere out of sight downstream. Is there any possibility there was any other hikers around there messing with you?
Oh, no, very, very dense, very dense forest.
So they would have to really love that rock to get it up out of the canopy and then into the river again.
Right, exactly. And it had to be huge because I heard, you can hear them thunk on the bottom.
Yeah.
And it's got to be a big boulder to do that.
Absolutely. I've only heard that once in my life. But, I have a long career of throwing rocks into rivers and streams and rivulets and whatever because it's fun. But, if you've got even a little stream that's kind of rushing at all, making any kind of noise, and you throw a rock in there, you're not going to hear it hit the bottom. It's going to have to be a really big rock. And the only time I've ever heard a rock thud out the bottom like that is when a backhoe was dropping boulders in a river.
Yeah.
So it had to be really big to make that kind of a thud hitting the bottom too yet.
Yes, because it sank fast, and, I don't care how big a fish is, it's not going to do that.
No, you don't hear the whack of the rock hitting the bottom when a fish jumps.
Right, yeah.
The other thing that's interesting here is that as soon as you released the fish, it relented. Whatever was the boulder grizzly that was flinging rocks at you all of a sudden didn't care. And if that had been another fisherman, he would have kept it up, get out of the area, I'm going to scare you away.
Yeah.
But, what else can throw rocks that as soon as it sees you're not going to haul off its fish supply doesn't care anymore?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in hindsight, it is kind of scary, but
we seem to get a lot of that where a lot of the, I don't know if it's really, you could call it aggression, because that's not that aggressive. It's like a warning or anything. But a lot of that stuff seems to be connected to them feeling like their food supply is being infringed on. Like, this is our area, this is our fish, these are our deer. Go somewhere else.
Yeah, that would make sense. But not shortly after that, I landed a nice, I can't remember what kind it was. It was brown or rainbow or something like that. And, and I would always let my fish go just because I really don't prefer to eat fish. I just like
super
to
fun to catch them. Yeah,
exactly. And I always talk to them, hang on, you'll be back in the water in a minute, and da-da-da. And yeah, that's when it stopped. So, but yeah, in hindsight, they were big, and they were coming from a distance because it was very, very, there's just a little path along the water, and that wasn't that clear either, but yeah, that had to be chucked from some distance.
Oh, and that's the whole thing that gets me too. If you're talking about a boulder big enough that when it hits the water, you're going to actually hear it hit bottom on the river, that's got to have some weight. And to lob that from a distance, unless you got a siege engine like a catapult, that ain't happening.
Right. Well, I heard the splash, because then I looked, I heard it, but I didn't actually see the splash. But then I heard the boulder hit the bottom, and I'm like,
God,
wow.
that would have been when I would have got real scared. Like, oh God, that's not normal.
I knew that, but I'm an idiot when it comes to fishing. I can't help it.
Too into the moment.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and it's the same thing with the deer hunters too. They're out there on their stand and they see something weird walk by, and they're like, I'm gonna tell myself that's a bear because I want to keep hunting here. Literally what they're doing.
I think seeing one though would be a little different than hearing one, but maybe I don't. Maybe not. Our brains can, do some some funny things to us.
Yeah, it depends on how bad the buck fever is. Well, I know it's walking on two legs, but that's got to be a bear. So I'm going to stay in my deer stand.
That's true. Oh, and then another time we were, this was in the fall, and it had to be towards the start of hunting season because there wasn't really any snow on the ground yet. Mm-hmm. But I had my 30-06 rifle, and Grizz was getting cutting wood because we, you eat by wood around here. There's no gas pipelines or anything. It's, wood or propane, whatever. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to, walk down this road here and see what happens. And so I got maybe, 3/4 mile away from was, buzzing with the wood. And all of a sudden, I just got this feeling there's something there, and it's staring at me, right? And I felt this before. But this time, it just like the neck, the hair on my neck, everything, it just went to red alert, And then all of a sudden, these trees started just shaking like crazy. Maybe 20, 30 yards from me, not very far. And I thought, geez, I can't see what's doing that. And initially I thought, well, it's a moose.
Mm-hmm.
And then
rubbing
there was
against
some
the tree.
But it did make some weird noises. And I thought, well, the moose in the fall, they're not really, I don't know, but usually, they don't really give a shit. They charge and they clomp and they don't care who hears them or whatever.
Really aggressive, yeah.
They are very cantankerous. And so I could see the trees moving and stuff, and I thought, oh my God, what the hell? And so I'm trying to hide behind this little pine tree, like 4 feet, because it was like there was just this really tiny cluster of trees. And I'm like, oh my God, make like a tree, and I chamber one, and I am aiming at that spot because there's something wrong, and I'm just anticipating something to charge, but it never did. It just kept shaking, and then after I had my finger close to the trigger and I was ready. But with my training, I'm like, you never shoot anything. You've got to know your target and what's beyond. And so I didn't, but I don't know if my actual chambering a shell, and I just stood there shaking, and I've come within 20 yards of a bear with a bow and arrow. I used to archery hunt also, and that never was I freaked out like this. I mean, even that bear looked at he looked behind, and his eyes, oh my God, it's like, don't shoot till you see the whites of their eyes.
Yeah.
Anyways, his eyes got huge and his fur ruffled up on the back of his neck, just like a cat or a dog or something, and he ran away, and that was nothing compared to what I was feeling, at this moment in time. And I just stood there shaking and just waiting, and then it just stopped and it was quiet. It's like there was nothing. You can hear moose and crap, all the big ones. This had to be something big. Bears can't shake the trees that big like that. Even if they're scratching or whatever, it's not going to do that. And so I was praying. I really was. I'm like, oh, Lord, I don't know what that is, but you got to protect me. Because this is scaring the whole living shit out of me, And I don't know how much time passed, but it got quiet. And then I beelined back to Grizz, and I was, telling him, wow, that I don't know what just happened, but I didn't see it, but that was not normal at all. And I think in retrospect, in hindsight, I don't know, it just is different. It's, I don't know, there was just something very, very different about that.
I know what you're saying. When they're around and they're staring at you, for some reason it seems like, especially the people with wilderness skills can really sense it. And it's, you can tell when an animal's watching you. And this is more like when a predator's watching you or something, and you're about to be dinner and you get that kind of fear response, like something's watching me that doesn't have good intentions sort of feeling.
Right. It's like you can feel their eyes just drilling, laser beams on you or something. I don't know, but yeah, very different than just a normal animal.
And
I've had encounters with
and that's one of the things that gets repeated in reports over and over and over again, where and again, the experienced outdoors people that are used to encountering all these other animals, and all of a sudden it's like everything goes dead silent. The hair on the back of my neck stands up. I know something's watching me. I can even tell what direction it's watching me from. Well, that's not normal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. Very true. And I know when we first moved to Montana, oh my goodness, there was no place unsafe. We had to explore and go see everything. And
yeah, how's that working out for you? You still in Montana, right? There's too much everything to explore here in this state. You'd have to work 500 years to explore everything in this state.
I know, right? Well, we tried. But it would be weird because we'd come across these structures, and I thought, well, geez, that, why would somebody make a blind right there? And they really did a crappy job, know. But looking back, it's like, I remember thinking, well, there's a bunch of trees. They're all the same. And then only one is bent over. It's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would it be just that one? Yeah.
Like the one we found over there on the top of that ridge in Mount Sentinel that we keep going over and doing the research on the Patty Canyon Troop over there. On the backside of the ridge, there's a snapped-off tree, snapped off about 4.5, 5 feet up. And it's like 8 inches across. And right next to it, there's this puny little rotten dead twig that's like 2 inches thick. And if you breathe on it hard, it would fall over. Well, how is that not falled over? And this thing snapped off, and it's right next to it, like 4 inches away.
Exactly. Yeah.
That can't happen naturally.
No. It'd be like, okay, wind can't do that.
No.
Yeah, we've come across so many structures like that, but being ignorant, we're just like, oh, well, that's weird, and wouldn't think anything of it. And now, looking at the pictures and everything, it's like, holy moly.
Yeah, but now you got the point of reference, and you can look at it and go, oh, I've seen all this stuff before. Oh, creepy.
Yeah, they're running around here in hordes. I don't know, but it seems like it because there's a lot of sign. Very much so.
Well, yeah, I was joking around with my friend Richard. He's right over in the Idaho-Washington corner over there. And he said the same sort of things that I do. He'll be driving down a road, like a freeway or something, and you'll see an X structure way off in the distance and go, okay, where's the access road? And you'll take the access road over to the X structure, and you'll walk over and make sure that's like, is this normal, or did something major?
Yeah.
And the people in the truck with him are like, are you crazy? What are you doing? Why are we getting off the freeway? Why are we going to look at these trees?
Yeah, exactly.
But the interesting thing is that, 9 times out of 10, when you know what to look for and you see something like that, you go over and look at it. It ain't natural. And these aren't pushed over trees. They're actually moved there from somewhere else. And what the hell did that,
Yeah, exactly. Because when that hits you, that's not natural. That it isn't, and requires further investigation. But, we were ignorant back then. Oh, my God, I would walk 10 miles in and out in the dark, guiding and just wanting to get down the mountain so I could sleep in my bed, after a few days. Now I don't know. I don't think I would do that now, but back then.
Or if you did, at least you'd be a lot more aware of the suspicious human-sounding footprints 60 yards out in the woods that seem to be mirroring your movements,
Oh, yeah. Well, thank God I'm hard of hearing, so maybe that might have saved me from
Yeah, they're probably out there making all kinds of rackets. Yeah. Rattles her. She's scared by anything. Try a whoop. Nope, no response. Wow. Well, we can let her hang around here. Nothing scares her. She must have some kind of nuclear detonator on her or something. She's not scared by anything.
Well, like I said, ignorance can be bliss. Oh, my goodness.
Well, honestly, I totally feel for you, dear, because I've been in the same exact position. When I was a kid, I lived in an area that had Bigfoot in it, and I knew there was some there, but I didn't know anything about tree structures. I didn't know that they were making them. And I was finding these things all the time. And I just thought there was the local Boy Scouts were in here messing around again. They had their scout troop in the area or something. And then you get further out there and you'd be past a couple of swamps out in the middle of nowhere and you'd find it, you'd be like, whatever. And you just kind of ignore it and you keep going, And then when you find out what it actually relates to later on and you think back to it, you're like, oh, God, I was right in the middle of the area. There's a bunch
of definitely.
Yeah, how stupid was I? And the only reason that I think that we didn't find tracks around there is because this was all this area didn't really have topsoil. It was all glacial moraine. I mean, if you dig down 2 inches, you're in gravel. So with ground like that, you don't leave footprints, you know. So if someone walked right through a little muddy pit or something, and Bigfoot doesn't make stupid mistakes like that, you wouldn't find their tracks. So there's never any tracks. You'd hear them off in the woods occasionally mimicking animals, and you'd see their stick structures all over the place. But if you didn't know what they were, who knows what that is, you know? And, those wolves sound weird tonight, or, you know, that owl doesn't sound quite right or something like that. And you just kind of blow it off. You don't really think about it.
Yeah, true. Well, it's hard to leave tracks with all the, you know, the pine needles, years and years of just dried, you know, stuff on the top of that to boot.
Yeah, that's another thing. I had Leo on recently. He's over there in Nova Scotia, and that whole area is like it's all pine forest, similar to what you got up there. And between the rocks and the pine needles all over everything, you almost never find a track. I'm surprised that I find any of them around here because we get pretty similar conditions. I've been having good luck with that. But, you know, in general, that's like really hit and miss. And the people that have a lot of success with it are the ones that live in these areas where there's swamps and it rains a lot and the ground tends to be softer and you get impressions more often. And, you know, when you're in an area like this, unless you really know where they're leaving trails or where they're hanging out or something like that, man, it's going to be hard to find a track because they just, and this isn't like a normal animal. This, you know, they know what tracks are. They can track things. They know that they shouldn't be leaving tracks or will find them. And that's why you don't hardly ever find huge ones because the big ones don't make mistakes very often. It's the little ones that make stupid mistakes and leave those little 15 or 16-inch tracks, you know, that you see running across the road in the middle of the night, you know, little 7 or 8 foot tall ones. Those are the dummy juveniles that are making mistakes or like they think it's funny. Let's go slap the house.
Yeah.
Let's wait until the van is almost down here by the turn of the road, and then I'll run across right in front of them. Let's see if they freak out. You know, and I wonder if that's what they're doing. If it's like juvenile delinquent squash on a lunch and they're trying to like break the rules but not get in trouble with the adults. And because, you know, a lot of the stuff that they do over and over, you get reports from all over the place of the same sort of behavior, and it doesn't make any sense really, except if you reference it from that standpoint. It's like, well, what would human teenagers do if Dad says to go down to Farmer Johnson's yard and peer in the window? That's a no-no. Hey, let's sneak down to Farmer Johnson's yard, peer in the window. See if we can get away with it, you know.
Their version of us, like, knocking on the doors and running when we were kids.
Yeah, exactly. Ding-dong ditch it. That's what they're doing. They slap the house, and they run away, and then they sit in the woods. And people scream and come out all freaked out and go, that was funny. Let's do it again.
Scored a point. Yep. But I think with humans, though, they're, well, of course, up here, geez, there's just so much forest up here, but I just think they're being encroached upon it now more than ever, you know, with humans and all that.
Especially on the East Coast. I think that's why they have a lot more sightings and a lot more aggressive behavior over there because the Squatches just don't have very many places left to go to where they don't get bugged by humans, so they're starting to get a shorter and shorter fuse for the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do.
And we're lucky in this part of the country because we've got way more forest than we got humans here. You know, we got a state that takes, 12 hours to drive across, and we got 1 million people.
I know, right?
Pretty deserted. How many millions of acres of forest do we have in this state? Millions of acres of
good
forest?
Gravy. Oh, yeah.
We got 2 national parks that are over 2 million apiece. I know that.
There's a lot up here, too. I can't remember the number, but it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and that's why I'm excited to get up there to the Sasquatch Fest and meet you folks and talk to all the locals up there because this is one of those parts of the country where we've got that really nice balance where there's tons of woods, there's tons of animals, there's not very many people, there's plenty of Bigfoot, but they're not super aggressive usually. You know, sometimes you run into troops that really aren't going to put up with you, and they're kind of out in the middle of nowhere for that reason, so they don't run into humans and they don't have to put up with you. But, you know, in general, it means 2 things. First of all, they tend to be a little bit mellower. And secondly, you don't get that many sightings. And, you know, I would be willing to bet that we've just got a gigantic crop of Bigfoot in the state, but because of how spread out it is and how much forest there is, it's really easy for them to never be seen by us. Really easy. They almost don't even have to try. I was talking to one of my friends about that, and we were talking about, how connected the forests are around here and how little human civilization there is. And I'm way down here in the middle part of the state, the far western middle part of the state, and right next to the rattlesnake forest. And if you go from the rattlesnake and you want to, let's say you're walking out of Missoula into the rattlesnake and you're going to go all the way to the Canadian border, and what's the least amount of roads you can cross? Well, the answer is 2. You can literally go from Missoula to the Canadian border and cross 2 roads. Oh, gee, it's so hard for Bigfoot to hide here. Give me a break. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I think sightings are just accidental anyways, because they're not really used to seeing humans at all,
Yeah, in some areas it's so infrequent that they maybe just don't even give a crap if the human sees them occasionally, because it's like, what's that, one of those, whatever.
True, yeah. Well, I know we've hiked in, oh my God, it seemed like 20 miles, and you think, well, nobody's been here, and then you come across one of them weird stick structures, and you're like, shit.
Yeah. And a lot of people get that, well, it's some, crazed homeless vet that's living out here in the sticks or something, but it's like, why are they making a tripod out of, trees? That doesn't serve any purpose. There's not a rope hanging from it. There isn't any evidence a human had a tarp on it, or any evidence of human garbage around here, or anything else. What made this? Why?
Yeah, that's usually how you tell the difference, is if it's been human-made, they leave something behind.
Yeah, or at least you can discern a purpose for it. You can go, okay, this is a lean-to they made for one night to sleep here, or this is a blind they made for hunting, or something like that. But a lot of the Bigfoot stuff you see, it just doesn't serve any discernible purpose, and clearly it was made by something. And that's usually a giveaway right there. It's like, why did something move these full-size trees over here and put them in this position, and it doesn't serve any purpose whatsoever? And this is really weird,
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm sure you've had a bunch of things that you've been, thinking twice and 3 times about at this point. Is there anything else that comes to mind immediately that may have been a Bigfoot-related encounter?
No, not. Well, there was one time Grizz and I were out doing something in this huge tree. And it was so funny because we were making a joke, well, if a tree falls in the forest, you can hear it. We actually had been joking about that about an hour before. We're out putting around, and then all of a sudden there was this whoosh. We could see the tree that went down. And it wasn't dead. It wasn't a, what do they call them, a snag? I think a snag. And we're like, holy shit, because there was no wind. There was no wind.
That's always creepy. No wind to dislodge a snag and make it fall.
Yep, yeah. And we're like, whoa. Well, and we debated about going over there, and then we're like, no, we don't want to go over there. We don't want to know what happened, because that's too. We couldn't comprehend that. We're like, no, we're just stay away. Yeah, we'll let that one go.
Yeah,
we didn't go explore that.
I know some of that stuff is so creepy. It's just like, no, I'm not going to go look at that.
Yeah.
It might still be there. Whatever pushed the tree over, I'll just.
It'll kill us, so whatever. Yeah.
Whatever pushed the tree over, it's too big for me to go mess with it. I'm just going to stay here.
Exactly.
Well, I'm glad that you guys aren't off put on going out into the woods or anything. Now you know that the Squatch are out there, and then you're just more interested in finding out about them.
Yeah, now I know what to look for and watch for. I'm a lot more interested listening to podcasts.
Well, and we're all
but
blessed.
There's a lot of
there's
useful
of
information.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people putting out good shows right now.
Definitely, and I encourage people, and I hope, when you get up here too, Lord knows what kind of stories you're going to hear, if the people decide to talk.
I can hardly wait. I'm sure it's going to be exciting.
Get ready. It'll be a unique experience. It is wonderful up here, though, and And there's just sign everywhere. I think you'll go mental. Actually, you just
yeah. Well, I've seen pictures from out there, although I haven't been there, and it is gorgeous, and I can hardly wait to get out there and get to see it firsthand. And again, I encourage everybody out there that's listening, if you're interested, and if you're in the nearby area, you know, just a short distance, say within like 5 states, show up.
Right.
It'll totally be cool. This is a weekend-long event, right? It's not just like one night or something?
No, yeah, it is for the weekend. I can't remember if it starts. It starts the June 16th, I think. I don't know when that is, if that's a Friday.
So it's either a Saturday, Sunday, or a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, see, that encourages people to go because then it's not just one day; it's worth the drive.
I guess Saturday and Sunday, but yeah, you know, it'll be worth it for sure.
Well, I heard lots of good things about the first one, so I'm super sad that I missed it, but super psyched to be there for the second one at the very least.
Yeah, we missed the first one too, and regrettably, but we'll bring some life to the second one, that's for sure.
And while we're on the subject of campouts, just a quick heads up to everybody that's out there listening to this, that we're sort of planning tentatively to have our own little campout here in August, up in the same area. We've got a beautiful little campground that we've got picked out that we can have it at, and it'll camp about 100 people. I'm going to invite everybody that's been a guest on my show to be there. Kevin from Glaggland is also planning on trying to attend, and he's also throwing out an invitation to fans of Glaggland to be there, and I'm doing the same thing with fans of World Bigfoot Central. So let the rush begin. Get a hold of me.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, and I've already talked to half of Swamp Ritual, and it sounds like their schedule allows for it, and I got to talk to the other half and get his opinion. But for right now, half of Swamp Ritual is on board to show up and thinks it sounds like fun. So we can have everybody's favorite intro music band there, and you can get to see those maniacs play live, and they are riveting live. This isn't some bands that sound good in the studio and are boring. These guys are amazing live. They could do it even better live. So
cool.
Another good reason to show up.
I'll shame the other half that hasn't committed. How's that? Come on, you guys, do it.
Yeah, Dustin, come on. You got to go.
That's right.
All righty. Well, you got anything else to add?
Right now. But thank you so much, and I'll turn you over back to the Grizz.
Okay. Thanks, Mama Bear.
Right. Okay, bye.
See what I get to live with?
Oh, you're a lucky, lucky man. She sounds great, and she likes to fish and hunt and stuff, too, man. You got it made.
Yeah, we've been together 30 years. So.
Wow, she's got a lot of tolerance for you, huh?
Yeah, she does have a high tolerance level.
Oh, you guys are just a total treat to have on the show. I always enjoyed being in contact with Grizz, and it was just a pleasure to finally get a chance to talk to Mama Bear, and I'm looking forward to having the two kids on here as soon as they're out of the situation they're in right now. Can you give us any details on what happened?
Well, he had a falling wedge, evidently. I'm not up to speed on it. Bust out of a tree, hit him right in the eye. It pretty much dislodged his retina.
Oh, God.
And he's in there now, and we're waiting to see what everything is. And it's kind of funny. There's the old logger coming out. It's like, damn, I didn't want to miss doing that show.
Well, tell him I'm sorry. I'm in the emergency room right now. Oh, my God.
Well, if we could have got a phone in there while he's in surgery, it'd have talked to you, you know, damn logger.
So I think we can reasonably assure the audience that he will be on the show for part 2 of this episode.
Oh, yeah, you get those two characters on, you're in trouble.
Okay, well, that sounds good. I'll get ready. For
okay.
You're specifically what Grizz is referencing here is his daughter and son-in-law. And his son-in-law is the one that just had the accident here. And they both got Bigfoot stories. So more Bigfoot stories from up there far, far north. dangerously close to the yak.
Well, we hope to keep you over when you come up here so we can take you out driving around to some of our places, and then we'll get you back down.
Right on. Well, I'm really looking forward to it. I've been wanting to see that part of Montana for years now. I'm super psyched to do it.
It'll blow your shorts off, so wear old ones.
Bring skid-resistant underwear. Got it.
And
got to be careful. You know, you're walking around the woods. You never can be sure what you might see, and you could squat your pants. So you don't want that to happen.
Yeah. Well, I can say one thing, Duke, is this family really appreciates what you do. I mean, my daughter had her experiences. My son-in-law had, Mama Bear had hers. I had mine. We all kept our mouths shut pretty much about it until I did that show. So anybody who's got any doubts, you're not getting hornswoggled. You're opening a brand new door into some really neat stuff. So go for it.
Right on. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. You know, and
yeah,
hopefully this is the way it'll work for people. It'll spread out like little ripples. You get one person to come forward, and then their relatives talk, and then their friends talk, and then pretty soon the whole community's talking about all the weird Bigfoot experiences, and nobody has to, like, hide it anymore.
Yeah, and, you know, this is coming from a guy who didn't even want to get on your show. And, you know, we got you, and I'm so excited to have you up here. Mama Bear is, too. As you can tell, she's quite animated.
Yeah.
She is such a treat. You will love her.
I know. I'm super looking forward to meeting you and the whole rest of the family and all the crew up there, all the yackers up in the yak.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to watch out for the yak people. No, yak people are wonderful. They'll give you a shirt off their back. They really would. It's a tight community. It's small, and they are really, really wonderful people up there. So you'll have a good time.
That's why I'm looking forward to meeting them, because they sound like the same kind of folks that I grew up with in northern Minnesota. You know, real down-to-earth, straight shooters. As long as you're a good person and you're not BSing them or anything, they'll give you the shirt off your back or their back. And if you're mean and you're BSing them and you're yanking their chain, you'll end up buried in a swamp somewhere.
Right. That's about it. But it's a fun place. It'll be a fun time. We heard nothing but good. We missed it last year, but the daughter went up there and they had a ball, and the music, everything going on, and I know the guy that puts it on, the husband and wife put it on. They're so excited to have you up there. So
you heard this now, listeners. There's going to be music there. There's like vendor stands with food and all this kind of stuff too. This is an actual festival.
Yeah. And there'll be very few vendor stands. I mean, I guess they'll have some selling jewelry and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, they've got like a restaurant or something practically like right next to it that you can eat at, right?
Well, yeah, that's the world famous Dirty Shame Saloon.
There you go.
You can go order roadkill helper there.
Yeah, don't let the name put you off. From what I've heard, they have just spectacular food there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a wonderful place. It really is. And the whole environment is just friendly. And I know one of Addie's friends will have like a candy booth and that up there, making cotton candy and stuff. But
right on. Fun.
There's food to be had at there's a couple, the Mercantile and the Dirty Shame right there. They got food and stuff, and you know, if you're camping out, do your own, whatever you want to do. It's real loose, real exciting, and it's a yak experience.
Mm-hmm.
We call it a yak attack.
Yak attack, right on. Okay, yakkers. Well, we got to get going here, and I'm looking forward to getting your kids on here shortly after this whole emergency's over. And folks out there, pray for him that they can put his eye back together properly and he doesn't have any permanent damage from it. And we'd all appreciate that.
I thank you for that. Let's get him in the prayer chain.
Let's get him in the prayer chain. That's the best way to deal with this stuff. That works good. Doctors can only do so much, and then it's up to the fearless leader upstairs as to what happens. So give him your 2 cents worth. Tell him you care. Do some praying.
Yeah. Yep, it works.
It does.
It really
and
does.
Meanwhile, thanks to you and Mama Bear for being on the show again, and to all the listeners out there in Squatch Land, make sure to be kind to each other. Always take care of each other. Pay it forward. Safety first, last, and always. No matter what else happens, do not hug the Wookiee.